Hi guys, welcome again. To be a consistently profitable trader, you need to be consistent in everything you do while trading, everything you do on the charts. That is something that I did not recognize or I did not know for years in trading. And when I discovered, when I heard about it, when I started implementing it, I saw very big changes in my trading. So if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you very much. So let's first explain why it is very important to be consistent in trading. When you are in the market on the charts, the market is already a very random place. The outcomes in the market on the charts, the setups on the charts, they produce very random results. Now, the results that we are measuring in the market, when we say measuring results, we are measuring results based on our strategies, not based on the market. If you just enter the market and just trade anything, you won't be able to measure your results because the market is very random. Any little thing can just change the direction of any setup. So that is why trading different setups cannot give you results that you can replicate, because it's like that's the whole point of being consistent with something, being able to do something that you can replicate, because the goal is, like everybody says, being consistently profitable, being able to replicate that profitability month after month. Anybody can come into the market and make profit. You can come into the market today, make profit in the next 2 weeks, or even today, as you can place a trade and then make profit. But can you replicate it is the question. That's why they call like professional traders consistently profitable, not just profitable, not just that you can make profit. Can you consistently do it month after month after years? Can you do that? And that is why we need strategy. That is why we need to be consistent with our strategies, because our strategies give us results that we can look at, and then we can record and replicate, because we know that, okay, with this, if this happens, this is going to happen next. So because the market, our strategy is about signals. It's about signals. So the market gives us signals, and we know that if it's giving us this signal, okay, it's most likely going to do this next, because nothing is sure in the market. So it's most likely going to do the next thing next. If we see a double top at a resistance zone, it's most likely going to going to drop, especially when we're on a downtrend. That is market structure. And so that's just an example. So with that, over time, we're going to know, okay, this is where this particular setup works, this is where this setup doesn't work. So that is a strategy that we are now going to follow and then record the results, and then record the outcomes. How many times does this work? How many times are we going to see this setup in a month? And then, but you have to follow that particular strategy, because every strategy has their down times and their up times. So now imagine if you are trading multiple strategies. You are trading this one, you jump from this one to the next one to the next one. So by the time you are trading this one, imagine if it's in its losing phase, and then you now say, okay, let me trade the other strategy, let me use the other strategy tomorrow. That strategy may be in its losing phase, and then you jump to that one, and the other strategy you were using may have switched to its winning phase, when you are supposed to be winning on that same strategy to cover up your losses and then make profit. You have jumped already to the next strategy that is also in its losing phase, and then you keep jumping up and down, and then you can't record anything, and nothing makes any sense. So that is why we have to be consistent in everything we do. I'm going to make a list of like the most important things that we need to be consistent with that really changed things for me, because I think most of you watching, or most of us, didn't know or don't know that you're actually supposed to be consistent with something. You're not supposed to be jumping all over the place. So we're going to list them later. So you really have to internalize the fact that you need consistency in your trading, because it's difficult. It's difficult. Change when you have become a trader and you are learning on your own, especially when you are learning on your own and you have learned a lot of bad habits. This is what happened to me. I learned so much bad habits that when I started getting the right information, when I started getting the good information that equals to that provides profitability in the market, it was difficult for me to change, because it's like you have held on to these things for so long, thinking and believing that these things will give you profit. So in your mind, in a way, you've already conditioned yourself to think that those wrong things that you are doing are going to give you profit. So changing to, even if you know that this is the good knowledge, this is the good information I'm supposed to be following, it can be tough. So that is why discipline is another very important thing. Staying disciplined, doing the things you need to do despite your conditioning, despite your that bias you already have. Despite all that, still going ahead and doing it till you get used to it, because that's what happens. You force yourself to do it at first, and then you get used to it, and then it just becomes natural to you. So that's what happened. That's what I had to do. It's not easy, but you have to recognize that consistency is the key to becoming a consistently profitable forex trader. So let's list the things that you definitely have to be consistent in before you start seeing any form of consistent profitability. So number one is consistency in how much you are risking. Consistency in your lot size. That is number one. Let's take, for example, we place a trade, we are risking $10. We risk $10 on this trade, and then we win. Let's say we win $10 profit. Let's just do it 1-to-1 to make things easy to understand. 1-to-1, you win. Because me myself, I trade 1-to-1, and I think that's another thing. I digress, but that's another thing that people need to realize. 1-to-1, 1-to-2 has been preached a lot, and it's like if you do 1-to-1, you are losing. When I discovered that I could do 1-to-1 and I started implementing it, I saw big changes and I started getting profitable. So I guess that's another thing we can discuss another day. But back to what we're talking about. Let's just say you risk $10 using a 1-to-1 risk management strategy. You get $10. You win $10. You win that trade, $10 in return. You now see another trade, and you're not like, this trade is very good. It looks like it's 100% going to go my way. Let me risk $20, and then that's a loss. Instead of going back to break even, you are now in drawdown. And that is how a lot of people continue up and down till they blow their accounts. Now, don't forget, I digress again, but when I say 1-to-1, the reason why people use 1-to-1 or it is profitable to use 1-to-1 is because when you use a 1-to-1 strategy, the target is closer for the market to hit, so your win rate increases. So people using 1-to-2 risk to reward, they may have maybe 40-50% win rate, but as somebody using 1-to-1 risk to reward strategy, you are talking 60-70% win rate, and it's very possible for you to even go like a month without any loss. It's possible. So That's the thing. That is why it is important. Back to what we're talking about. That's why it's important to use consistent, to risk consistent. Like one, if you're risking $10, let it be $10 you're risking. You're risking $20. No matter how good, the strategy may look, the setup may look, no matter how sure you think the setup looks, still risk the same amount. And if you are going to increase your risk, it's fine to increase your risk as long as you are doing it strategically. If you are going to increase your risk, that risk that you increased it to, that's what you should keep using. As if you want to be a proper trader, or if you want to flip, I haven't flipped an account before. I'm focusing on proper trading for now, till when I have money that, okay, this one I can do whatever I want with it. I don't mind losing it. Then I can start flipping. So yeah, that's the number one thing. You see how much you are risking. The second thing that I think is related to how much you are risking is your stop loss. Your stop loss amount. That's the amount you're risking for your stop loss. At least from the beginning, at least as a beginner, because I've had profitable traders say that, okay, what they do is what they call it, put their stop loss where it needs to be. It depends on their strategy. Again, put their stop loss where it needs to be, and then put their target where it needs to be able to be 1-2 or 1-1 according to what they are, according to their risk to reward strategy. They put it. They just put their stop loss where it needs to be. So the amount of stop loss could be random. It's random in their own case. But I don't know about that. But as a beginner, you if you want to build discipline, you also want to build consistency. Make your stop loss amount consistent. So that's it. And then next, I want to say take profit. But take profit is something that, or I will say this, as a beginner, definitely as a beginner, set your take profit. Set the same, be consistent with your take profit. Set the same amount. If your take profit is 20 pips, let it be 20 pips every single time. If it's 30 pips, let it be 30 pips every single time. It's when you start to when you gain more knowledge, and then you start to recognize when, okay, the market could potentially go higher in this area because maybe there is not much zones, there are not much resistance in its way, so there's no zone that could stop it, so it may have potential to go further than your take profit. That is when, like, okay, you can now watch it, and then remove your take profit and let it go higher or lower. That's what I would say. But as a beginner, I recommend, and that's what I did when I started to see profitability. I started I put a limit, not limit. I started risking putting my take profit at a consistent target, and for me it's 20 pips, if you don't know, so I'm just saying. So yeah, the next is consistent in executing one setup. Be consistent in executing one setup, just one. You need one setup. You need one session. This one session thing is something that I saw as unnecessary, because there are pros that trade multiple sessions, but again, as a beginner, if you really want to build consistency, start with one session at least. There are also pros that only trade one session. In fact, a lot of people advise one session. Me, I'm seeing profitability with one session, and I don't think I need to add another thing. I'm most likely not going to add another session. So one session, one setup, one risk size, one take profit size, and that's it. One for me, I do I trade only GBP USD, and that's it. Simple as that. so that even as those things are not as you are not looking for many things, it's very easy for you to be consistent in them, because you know what you have to do and you are going for it immediately. No double thinking, no doubting and all those things. You know what you are doing it immediately. For the strategy is another thing that I found very difficult to stick to and to start following, because I was so, oh my god, I don't know how many of you are going through that right now, but that is a very dark place to be, and I'm sorry you have to go through all that because of the wrong information that is being spread online. You don't need multiple strategies. You only need one strategy. Why do you need one strategy? Because you have to execute consistently. You have to execute it consistently. Multiple strategies is not what is going to give you profit. You don't need it. In fact, there are people that have been able to make profits with multiple strategies, and then so they are profitable traders. But you can also make profit with just one strategy. As much profit as those people are making with multiple strategies or with more complicated strategies. You need just one simple setup, one simple strategy, how you analyze, how you find your zone, and how you execute your entry criteria. That's all you need, just one, and then execute it consistently. And that is how you'll be able to measure your results, measure your gain, measure what you are doing wrong and right, and then just keep executing it over and over again. The same thing, no matter the temptation you have, just keep executing it and you will see results. So that's one of the biggest things I learned that really pushed me forward to the point that I just passed phase 1 of a challenge, and that is a massive thing. So if you liked this video, please subscribe, like, comment. Thank you very much for watching. Till next time.